I came to Chicago to see the place where my harp was built, the world-famous Lyon Healy Harp factory. My tour guide is Steve Fritzman, Lyon Healy's national sales manager and former master harp maker.
Our next floor here is where our master harp makers are, master carvers. This is where we take a lot of what you've seen downstairs being made and really build the harp. Okay, the first part I'd like to show you upstairs here is where we hand carve all of our instruments here. You can see Victor's working on carving a style 23 here. And this is all the solid maple. These columns are the ones we saw being built downstairs.
Wow, that's such a precision work.
It's a real art form. You know, you don't see a lot of hand carving being done much, you know. And each of the carvers, it's a certain pattern that they follow, but they all have their own sort of little signature styling of maybe a flower or a leaf and their own artistry in how they do things. Because they are artists, you know, they really are. The next part of our tour, we'll be heading on over this way to see the harp makers assembling all these parts. See, Sue's working on a forest of 23s here. You can see the layout of all the tuning pin holes have been laid out here and all the mechanism holes. This is where the mechanism will be mounted onto here. And this is all done in accordance to a very strict pattern to align this so that one 23 to the next 23, the string lengths are the same.
In this stage, they start to look like the harps that people recognize as the harps. You can see the whole framework, only it's missing the strings, of course, and the pedals. But here the different parts are being made and sanded down and really well detailed already. So we're not that far from the final results. Tell me more about this. This is such a fascinating part of the harp.
Well, this is a very important part of the harp. This is what we call the base of the harp that controls all the pedals. And what makes this a very important part of the harp is, one, it's the foundation of your instrument. It's the part that's always on the ground, always gets lifted back, set down. So it takes a lot of wear and tear through the years. So we have to make sure it's built very strongly. You can see this is all maple plies in here that are all glued together to form this curve.
So this is where the pedals will go through.
This is where the pedals will go through, and this controls the stroke of the mechanism. So this is very important. Yes. These slots will all be sanded and filed and using gauges to make sure that they're the exact dimensions that they need to be. Okay, this is our finishing booth here, and this is where we spray all the instruments. You can see he has a harp neck, one of the different pieces of the harp hanging up there. Right now what he's actually spraying is a stain on there. He's staining this harp, and that's getting the color that the instrument will ultimately have. After that, then the clear coats will be sprayed on, and they sand in between each coat. So quite a laborious process. Here you see a 23 gold. It's in some of its final stages. You can see how the beautiful Babinga inlay in here with the Avidire. It's such a wonderful contrast. It really defines the instrument, a beautiful quality look to it. Okay, Lavinia, this is our gilding room here.
Is that real gold?
That's pure gold leaf. It's 23 plus carat. It's the purest form it can be.
Wow, that looks really thin.
Because the gold is so fine, if you were to touch it, it would just crumple in your fingers.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Wow.
Now you can put that in your finger, okay, and you can see how fine that is, and rub your fingers together.
Oh, wow, it breaks. Wow, that's as thin as it can get.
And this is an age-old tradition. This is the true art of what we call water gilding. This is the way we've been gilding harps for over 100 years, and as well as gilding has been predominantly done through time.
That was really one of the highlights of the tour, I thought, to see how they put the gold on the harp. Because it was something I was not aware of, that they would do it that way, dealing with such thin layers of gold and really piece by piece putting it on, pushing it down, and centimeter by centimeter polish it.
And up in here you see that she's actually rubbing the gold leaf with this tool. That's a polished agate stone. And what that does is it polishes the gold and actually compresses the different layers of gold together, and it changes the molecular structure of it and makes it shine.
So how long is the process of gilding a column?
Many more hours than carving. It's a very long process because really it's not done until it's right. What we're doing is we're laying the gold leaf down between the gold leaf decal that's captured under the finish. So you get this beautiful pure gold leaf line that sort of trims and outlines your harp soundboard. And again, these things, he makes it look very easy, but it's something that there's certain timing to it. It has to be certain timing to it, and everything has to be just right.
Otherwise you can start over again.
Otherwise you're starting over again, that is right. But that's the process of how your soundboard gets beautifully decorated like that. At this stage then, we start to put the harps together. Here's one that's actually being strung up. What we do is we set the wires on here. As you see, the wire strings are on. The technicians here have mounted all the different pedal mechanism in here.
This is always such a fascinating part to see. Here we are at the pedal mechanism, where it's all housed in the bottom of the harp, and you can see what a strong construction it has to be to keep all the strength. And the metal tubes, they disappear into that black hole and they go up the column, up to the top, to the rotating discs. This is where the movement of the pedals come down to, is rotating these little discs on the string. By moving a pedal, you can make them rotate and make each string shorter, so the sound will be higher. Just want to explain something about why we need the pedals on the harp and why they're so crucial. Well, when you put all the half notes on the harp, an octave would be as big as this space here, which is very big, and I don't know many harpists that can reach it. So that's why we need the pedals to get those half notes. And in this way, you can also put a lot more octaves on the harp.
Our tour is almost complete. Now the harps are lined up and waiting to be tuned. When we return, I'll try one on for size and show you a side of the harp that perhaps you've never seen before.